Today we celebrate the feast day of Saint Bridget of Sweden. When most people hear the name Bridget, they probably think immediately of Ireland and St. Patrick. But that is Saint Bridget, B-R-I-G-I-D. This is Saint Bridget, B-R-I-D-G-E-T, Saint Bridget of Sweden. And if Catholics know her for anything at all, they might know her for the 15 prayers of Saint Bridget of Sweden in honor of the Passion of Jesus, which you find in that popular little blue prayer book with the Pietà on the front. Maybe some of you have prayed the 15 prayers of Saint Bridget of Sweden. Bridget was born in Sweden in the year 1303. Her parents were very devout Catholics, and they instilled in her a great love for Jesus and her Catholic faith. When she was just 10 years old, she had a vision of Jesus all bloody and hanging from the cross. She was horrified by what she saw, and she asked Jesus who had treated him like that. Jesus said back to her, "All those who despise me and spurn my love for them." That vision left a lasting impression on the little girl, and for the rest of her life, Bridget had a deep devotion to the passion and suffering of Jesus Christ. She got married at a young age and immediately began seeking holiness in her vocation as a wife and a mother. Her husband wasn't a very good Catholic, but as so often happens, he became more devout as time went on because of the good example and the encouragement and prayers and sacrifices of his good wife. They eventually became third-order Franciscans together, and in the spirit of St. Francis, they practiced works of charity for the poor and even founded a hospital together. Bridget and her husband had 8 children, and they worked really hard to make their family what we call a domestic church, or a little church at home. They prayed daily as a family. They went to Mass and confession as a family on a regular basis, and they made pilgrimages together as a family. They even made a pilgrimage all the way from Sweden to Santiago de Compostela in Spain with all those children in tow. They passed on the faith with so much joy and passion that one of their kids even grew up to become a canonized saint, their second daughter, Saint Catherine of Sweden. After 28 years of marriage, Bridget's husband died, and she decided not to get remarried so that she could dedicate herself without any distractions to a life of prayer, penance, and works of charity. She gave away all of her possessions to the poor, and she began to live the life of a nun, first in Sweden and then in Rome, where she spent the last 24 years of her life. She even founded her own religious order, which still exists today, known as the Bridgetines. And it was during that second half of her life that she had many of the revelations that she's famous for. She had visions of scenes from the life of Jesus. She had conversations with Jesus, Mary, and many of the saints. She saw heaven, hell, and purgatory. And she received some very strong messages from Jesus for the priests and bishops and even the popes of her day, rebuking them for their infidelity and calling them back to a life of holiness and to conversion. She had so many mystical experiences that when they were written down in a book, they formed 8 volumes, which you can still read today. They're called The Revelations of Bridget of Sweden. And it was during those mystical experiences that she received those famous 15 prayers that most Catholics would know her for today, if they know her for anything. According to the story, she had been praying for a long time because she wanted to know how many blows Jesus had experienced during his passion. After a lot of prayer, one day Jesus appeared to her and he told her that he had been struck during his passion 5,480 times, including every time somebody spat at him or hit him during the way of the cross. And Jesus gave her 15 prayers to be prayed every day for 1 year, along with 15 Our Fathers and 15 Hail Marys in honor of his 5,480 blows. Many Catholics still pray them today. I can personally testify to the power of those prayers. When I was 19 years old, I felt inspired to pray those prayers. So I prayed them every day for the whole year of 2004. They take about a half an hour to pray every day, and it was definitely a sacrifice some days when I was really busy. But I got to tell you, it was well worth it. Those prayers definitely brought me deeper into the Passion of Jesus, and I highly recommend them to any one of you who's looking to grow in your appreciation for all that Jesus suffered out of love for us. The 15 prayers of St. Bridget of Sweden in honor of the Passion of Jesus. And you should see the list of promises attached to those prayers. Bridget died at the age of 71. She was canonized just 18 years after her death. And in 1999, Pope John Paul II named her co-patroness of Europe, along with 2 other women, Catherine of Siena and St. Edith Stein. If there's one lesson we can learn from Bridget of Sweden today, it is the universal call to holiness. Remember that? The idea that everyone can become a saint, no matter what your vocation or your state of life. Bridget's incredible because she lived them all in one person. She was single, she was married, she was a mom, she was a widow, and she was a nun. All of them in one person. And as she lived each of those vocations, she strove to be holy, to be a saint. And she didn't become a saint because of her mystical experiences. She became a saint because she fulfilled the obligations of her state of life, and she filled her life with prayer, sacrifices, and love. And today the message that she gives us is that each one of us, regardless of our vocation, can become a saint if only we fulfill our obligations and fill our lives with prayer, sacrifice, and love. St. Bridget of Sweden, pray for us.